Hello there and welcome to another Tuesday night for a special interview edition of Not Your Average Globetrotter. I'm Rafael di Furia. We are going to be speaking with Mattia Morelli, one of Italy's top podcasters who has a podcast about learning English. Although, for those of you who are learning Italian, you might want to check it out because he does go between the two languages and explain them. So definitely worthwhile checking out. You can find his podcast through Practicamente Inglese.it. I'll be sure to have that on the screen. And of course, be sure to check out the most recent episode, or at least the most recent as of the upload of this video, where I actually was on his podcast. We had a lot of fun over there. But anyway, a huge thank you, of course, to the monthly patrons who make content like this possible. But before we get too much deeper into the subject and before I tell you too much about Mattia, I'll let Mattia tell you about Mattia. Welcome. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, Rafael. Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad to be here with you.
Maybe just before we get started on this episode, maybe do you want to just quickly introduce yourself, tell a little bit about what you do in your podcast?
Yeah, I'm Italian, no? And I live in Italy, and I lived in London for 6 years. And then I came back a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, actually. And I've started a podcast a year and a half ago, more or less, called Practicamente Inglese. And it was a sort of, hobby to help people, Italians, to better understand English in the workplace. Mm-hmm. And so I've started, this way, a few episodes, and then it started to pick up interest. And now I'm doing the 35th episode, and I'm posting every week. So it's nice. It's something really, really nice, and it's getting popular, let's say.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, even maybe just to give people a little bit of an idea of just how much your audience has grown so far, you're at like 20,000 followers on just Spotify alone?
Yeah, it's now something around 24,000 followers.
Wow. One of the reasons why I wanted to have you on is because you have had that experience of being an Italian living abroad and have come back to Italy. So some of what I wanted to talk with you about in this session is about your experience in the workplace and also even just living life abroad versus in Italy, but then also even the other factor of why I wanted to get in contact with you to talk about your experiences, because you do this podcast, but you're not an English teacher. No. You talk about these things from your own personal practical experience and not the theoretical, like the dog is blue style of learning. And so I really respect that because I much prefer that type of learning myself. And I love the way you do your content.
No. I have to say, Rafael, in fact, that in the first episode, I just say this. I say, hey guys, I'm not an English teacher. I don't do lessons. I just lived abroad. I had the chance to work in a professional environment, in a business environment. And so this is my experience. So don't take, for sure, there are some mistakes. Right. So if an English teacher will listen to my podcast, will say, this guy.
I don't know about this guy.
But, it's called praticamente, which means practically, no?
Right.
Praticamente is practically. So I'm trying to give tools, to give examples, to say, okay, you can pick this sentence and tomorrow you can say it in front of your boss, in front of your colleagues. So that's the main theme of the podcast.
No, and I love that because there's so much that you'll end up learning when studying a language that it's so unusable, or maybe it'll teach you something, but not directly related to something you need in that moment. But maybe just to start out with your experience as an Italian, having gone abroad, but then we'll get a little bit later into coming back and also talking about for people who are thinking about moving to Italy, what the work life is like here in Italy. But what was the first thing that after leaving Italy that you noticed was the most difficult for you to adjust to in the workspace abroad?
Okay, so first thing first, of course, language, no? When I was not able to speak very well English. When I arrived in London in 2011, so it was very difficult at the very beginning, no? But then, after 6-8 months, it's okay, it's fine. You're able to understand the other people talking to you, and you start to express yourself. The big difference is in professional way, I have to say that, you have more opportunities abroad. I mean, at least in London, in the UK, you have quite a few opportunities. In Italy is like, because you're living in Italy right now. So
right.
The work environment is often a little bit, how can I say, is a little bit calm. You got this job, and you maybe will keep it for 30-35 years. No,
right? No, that's a huge difference. Just to stop you right there, this is something that a lot of people coming from abroad don't understand. This part of the mentality of work life in Italy is that a person will get a job and keep their job for a huge portion of their life, especially government workers. I mean, that's practically a golden ticket to life here.
Yeah.
And there's just, it's not like maybe the American mindset or North American mindset where it's like, okay, after a couple of years, I get tired of the job. But in Italy, there's also benefits that come along with staying with a company and having a contract. Even like the idea of like almost credit doesn't necessarily exist here. It's everything with your ability to take out a loan is based on your job and contract. Correct. Generally speaking.
For example, for a mortgage, if you want to buy a house, of course if you are a dipendente, let's talk the Italian way, it's much easier. Yes, of course. Right. You have a little bit more rights rather than, a professional or a partita IVA, which is, a person working on his own,
Right. So just a quick translation there, dipendente, like a dependent worker, somebody who's actually an employee. But the partita IVA, just for clarification for anybody watching or listening, is a tax file that you as an individual or a business can get from the Italian government to be able to do your own business dealings. But anyway, sorry to interrupt you there.
No, I just was saying there is a big difference in between the two, because you have a little bit more rights and pension and coverage, let's say, if you're a dipendente, and a little bit less if you're a partita IVA, you are for professional. Of course, the opposite thing, is that as a professional, and if you work hard and you kind of do a good job, you can scale up, in terms of business, in terms of income, in terms of a few other things. So that's the good thing about being a professional, being independent, let's say.
Right.
But of course, if you get sick for a month and you can't work, you don't have income. So that's the thing,
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
The good thing though is that even if you don't have that income here in Italy, you still do have access to medical services if you are sick or you're unhealthy. Whereas in America, if you're out, you're out. So that's one big difference here in Italy versus
universal.
America,
here is universal.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, if you work, if you don't work. The coverage for health is for everybody. Everyone has it.
It's an amazing thing, especially coming from that American perspective. But just one other thing, when we're talking about being an independent, like freelancer or creating your own business, isn't there also a benefit later in life when it comes to Social Security that potentially you can end up earning more than you might if you are on a contract?
Yeah, it really depends, of course, because you can, you can integrate, the pension on your own. If you're a freelance, now you can decide how much you wanna put into the wallet, into that pocket that will get back to you at the end of your working life. If you are a dipendente, so if you are an employee, you have this by, this is already there, is in your contract. You have everything already paid by your employer, and And of course, there is a portion that you put as well. But in Italy, it's completely different. I have to tell you something. If you work in the UK, for example, you say, how much are you earning? No, and you say 30K. No, so that means it is the gross per year. Okay. Here in Italy, if you say, okay, how much you get from your job, you say the net per month. So you say, my salary is 1,200 euros per month. That means you already removed all the taxes, all the pension and everything. So it's like something that doesn't really matter, In other countries,
you don't see it at the end of the day, basically.
Because you don't see it. It's like something that you actually... I never owned that money, kind of. In reality, you are paying taxes with that money. You're paying your pension, part of your pension. So there is more about a thing of, okay, this is what I took in my pocket last month, and this is how it works. In other countries, you say, okay, it's 30K per year. Before taxes, before everything, and also when you got a job proposal, you have this as well. No, you have the gross per year, and that's a little bit of a difference in between Italy and other countries. I think the US is the same. No.
The US, it depends on what type of job you're doing, if it's contracted, non-contracted, if it's a day job, because there's different levels, of course. But maybe kind of getting back to that idea of some of the adjustments that you had when you were moving to the UK, what was the most difficult maybe regarding the work-life balance? Because there's definitely a different approach in Italy than most of the world.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the thing is, the quality of your life, if you think about food, if you think about weather, if you think about great places to visit, you have the sea, you have the seaside almost everywhere, you have mountains, you have cultural spots and museums, so there is a lot of art in Italy, so you have actually everything. The only part really missing is work, the having a proper job that gives you enough money to live decently, and you're always in a position of the work is always missing, also for young people. For the people coming out from university, there is also always this. So if you become a dipendente, if you got a job, you are covered. You have, I would say, enough to live decently. You will have a good pension at the end of your life, and everyone is trying to go that direction. That's the thing. So if you remove the work part, the rest is fantastic in Italy. You need to settle up the work situation.
And there's a point that you've touched on here a couple of times that I think might be worth just quickly touching on a little bit more about that a lot of Italians do want to live abroad for their work because of the situation here in Italy. From your perspective, how was that coming out of university and looking for a job here? Because I get a lot of questions from individuals who are saying, hey, I want to move to Italy. I want to go to university and study there. But my response, unfortunately, in a joking way, always ends up being, yeah, you can come to Italy and have just as much of a chance as anybody here to not get a job.
Yeah, it's true. That's absolutely true. In fact, my suggestion to an American that wants to come here in Italy, I would say, if you're a digital nomad, let's say someone who just need a computer, a laptop, and an internet connection to do their job, that's fantastic. I would say I would recommend to come here, because at the end of the day, it's the same as living everywhere else in the world, Basically. So you can pick Italy, and that's absolutely fine,
especially if you're here with an American income, and this is something I also recommend. Like, if you can work online and get an American income, a British income, a German income, an Australian income, and live in Italy, you're going to be living a lot more comfortably than most people here.
Or if you retire at some point, for example, that's a great place to come, Italy. And then I think, I'm not an expert, but there are some good new laws for people coming from abroad in Italy in terms of taxation. as well.
Especially like there's some cities that have tax regimes for those individuals who are retired, where they'll have either no tax or a very low flat tax, because one of the unfortunate things as a retiree here in Italy is that generally speaking, you do have to pay taxes on your monthly check that you get from the government at the end of the month. Like it's just, you end up having to give a little bit of that also to the Italian government. That's one thing that's very important to take into consideration.
But also, there are these small villages around Italy that they're giving out some of their houses for €1, for $1, just in order to repopulate the area, because otherwise everyone is moving to big cities. And those villages will die soon. No, so that's another great opportunity.
There's a lot that already are. Yeah, no, it's very sad. I mean, I've spoken about this in a number of videos, and I have mixed feelings. Like on one hand, I love that idea of repopulation. On the other hand, you have to really want to be there. You have to really want that lifestyle. But it's a very good point that you raised. Like even especially in some of these small villages, you will actually be able to find a decent internet connection. Not all of them. And if you're doing that digital nomad lifestyle,
I mean, if you're a YouTuber, you really need a good connection. So of course you will find it in the main cities for sure. Yeah. There are quite a few services as well with with the satellite as well. You can get internet with the satellite, which are decent as well. But yes, that's another thing. But in general, if you are able to work with a laptop and an internet connection or through your voice, that's great. I would recommend to come here because you will find great food, great places to visit during the weekend, and all those kind of things are very
all
nice.
The best. Like, there's no doubt about that. I mean, just the lifestyle in Italy is worth it. Like even if you're working at night and you can only experience during the day or vice versa, like it's just, there's so much to see and do and drink and smell and eat and experience in this country. But how is that as an Italian leaving all of that and going to the UK? Okay, fine. In the UK, you do have a rich history, but it's a very different type of life there. How was that adjustment in that regard for you?
So, the very first place I moved in the UK to professionalize myself in the field I was working in, which was hospitality, So if you work in the hospitality industry and in terms of resorts, of hotels, of course, London is a great place to be because you have quite a few, all the main companies that have hotels, they have a spot there in London, They have a property there. So you could work for 4 or 5-star hotels with big chains of those companies. And then maybe from there, you can move back to Italy, or you can go and travel the world. So that was a great spot. So I have started there studying a master in hospitality in hotel management. And then right after that, I was supposed to come back. It was just 6 months at the beginning. It ended up 6 years.
Wow. That's a
because
amount of time.
I have to say it was like long time. And then after the Brexit, the referendum in 2016, that was the beginning of saying it really, maybe it's time to move back.
Really?
Also because of kids. I had 2 kids there. And it's quite tough being in a foreign country, raising your kids with a completely different culture, which was absolutely fine. But you are away from your parents, the kids away from their grandparents, the family, so all those kind of things all together pushes me and my wife to come back in Italy. And I have to say that if you're a professional, or if we decided to do not have kids, we would have been still there for sure.
Interesting. I mean, it's interesting to hear that perspective, especially within the Italian family unit, the importance of the grandparents and how involved they end up being in children's lives. Like I think I've mentioned in a previous episode that like even where I live, you see baby carriages all over the place, but it's not the parents, it's the grandparents who are pushing the little baby carriages while the parents
it's
are
true.
at work.
That's another thing. Nurseries. Even though I have to say that from my experience here in Italy is cheaper to they're compared to big cities abroad. I mean, I'm just having this comparison with London. So the nursery, the monthly fee was like maybe 1,300, 1,400 euros. And here in Italy with 400, 500 euros, you will pick one of the best nursery in your town, a month. So, of course, differences in terms of salary as well.
Sure.
As I told you before, you have the chance, and I think in the US is kind of the same, that to grow quickly within companies, the ranking, the hierarchy,
yeah.
the hierarchy of
you
the
got
company.
It, man.
So you can, in 10 years, you can be the CEO of the company. I don't want to say 10 years, maybe 15 years, no?
Right. You have
Italy,
potential to grow and grow.
You have the potential to grow quickly. Or at least, in 5-6 years, you can become vice president of,
it's like the possibilities are literally endless.
But also because of this flexibility that in general, there is abroad, because people are moving around, they're not staying in the same place for 35 years,
Right.
Every 4, 5, 3 years, it depends on the sector, they move in different companies, So you have all the time possibility to grow up as well as in other countries because someone is leaving, so you can get his position. Here is very, very difficult in Italy to find something like that, So
is it usually that in Italy you enter more at a higher position only based on if your qualifications are there, or how is it to try and even grow within an Italian company?
First thing first, you need to have a great background in terms of university. We are very, that's another difference, we are very into education, where you have studied, what is your title. Right. If you have 3-4 master's certificates, that's very good, because
Italians are
you pile
very
up
highly educated.
all this paper,
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, absolutely great respect, but sometimes it's too much because you're maybe trying to find someone who's looking after your Facebook page and you ask for so many things, you're kind of looking for an engineer.
I remember when I was living in Alto Adige, just to become the janitor at a local town hall or something like this, you had to have certification in at least 2 or 3 languages, just like proper certification, but really difficult studies.
You don't need to speak the language. You need to have the certification that you speak the language.
Exactly.
That's the main difference, and the thing that I really like about UK and US in general is the fact that, why in the US you say the American dream, because if you work hard, if you trying to, do your best to get to a goal, to want to achieve something, if you really want to, you can get to it. It doesn't really matter how many piece of papers you have or all the certifications or stuff like that, So you can really get there. In Italy, it's a bit different. Things are changing right now because we are a little bit more international in general. If you go on LinkedIn right now, I'm not seeing any more job description of people in Italian. No,
really?
They're all in English. You won't find anyone in Italy saying I am imprenditore. I am the CEO. I am the owner. I am and because in the professional environment, everything is going everything is going more internationally, you know? So we are trying to get as well this kind of attitude from other countries, you know, as well. And I hope that this will give us the opportunity to grow as well, no? There are new works, there are new jobs coming up, you know?
Yeah.
And there's no qualification, there are no certification for those kind of new things, you know?
Yeah, especially jobs in like social media and so on. I mean,
Social
this is
media,
also the thing in America. I feel like I've heard many more stories of somebody who didn't even complete high school becoming this big success story more than I have here in Italy. It feels like it's much more uncommon for that type of success story, so to speak, to be here.
That's my point. I think in Italy today, if you don't have an academic career, or you haven't studied and you don't have 2 or 3 degrees, so you will not have the chance for sure to get into multinational companies or things like that. I think the best thing to do is to pick your what you're very good at, whatever it is, you know, and stick to it. Open, you know, become a freelance, starting to helping small companies or other professionals in what you're good at. And you can build your, you know, you can build your career like this, you know, as a freelance. I think that's the only way in Italy you can do something, and to be comfortable with it. Because if you need to think that there is a company there, they need to hire you. Before that, you have a competition of hundreds of candidates that you need to fight against. It's very tough to get to the position that you are looking for. No.
Yeah, no, it's a big problem here in Italy that for a single job you'll have so many overly qualified people and properly qualified people, but to find the right one is the most difficult, just because there is a shortage of jobs here, and there are so many people who do have these beautiful educations. But then even I completely agree that it's actually a very interesting kind of route to take, of taking this freelancer route, because in that case you're almost able to get work based on your own merit, not necessarily because of what you studied. That's also part of your own merit.
Yeah.
But what you've been able to accomplish, or your personality and how you do things. Because sometimes that is the ability to have a certain, not ability, but the innate ability of having certain skills or talents can sometimes be overlooked here. And it's unfortunate. But when you're working on your own, if you can market yourself right, you can get in front of just about anybody, even with that said, there will be the Italian companies who do want to see, oh, who have you worked with? What have you worked for? And they'll want to see that kind of qualification, but in a different sort of way. But you still have that at least first step to try and get in, which is very important.
The very good thing is that I'm actually watching things changing a little bit right now. You know, there are quite a few HR professionals or headhunter trying to find the famous soft skills, no? Trying to see your attitude as well. So things are a little bit changing right now, but still, if you don't have a proper education, if you don't have a strong degree, also, you know, the name of the university, I think this is in the US as well, no? If you come out from, I don't know, Princeton or
Harvard, any Ivy League,
you know,
school, you
know, of course you have something more, let's say, and here is the same, exactly the same. So you invest in also the name of the university, because we'll give you something more, and also the name is very important. But this is everywhere, is not just in Italy. No?
Definitely. I mean, like here, like if you go to an Italian school, like everybody knows Bocconi. If you have a degree from there, like you're pretty safe, and even in other parts of the world. But then say maybe you go to, I don't know, is there a school even in Palermo? There must be a university there. But if you get something from a lesser known place like that, even in Italy, even though it might be a major city, it's not going to have that same level just like anywhere else. And I think that's
true.
Very
but this is something that you will see in big companies, big name, because they want the best for of course, and that's right. So sometimes you don't even have to try going somewhere because you know that is not going to be enough your background. No, that's the kind of thing. But as I said, things are changing slightly a little bit, also because of the digitalization, the fact that you need to have also different skills. You won't find any university will teach you how to communicate with this new, in this new places, in this new social media environment, or security, cybersecurity, things that, softwares and all those kind of things that day by day are becoming more and more important for someone working for a company,
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm just, from your perspective, also kind of having come back here to Italy, what do you feel like is maybe the most important idea or skill that you've learned from living abroad that you've been able to bring back here and incorporate into what you do?
I would say maybe, a little bit more discipline. Let's say, because we always complain. No, me as an Italian, I always complain. This is not going well. This is not going good. This is not good. This is really bad, and so forth. But then at the end of the day, I'm the first one doing the same. In sometimes, this kind of thing. I don't know, the queue. You're trying to jump the queue, or you're trying to do things. In other countries, the queue is the queue. And there is no point to say who is the last. You recognize who is the last one.
Sorry to just interrupt you there. For Americans who are unfamiliar with that phrase, the line.
The line, yeah. I mean, it's more something UK, the queue. But stay in line, and all those kind of thing in general, no? And this is something that you will pick from another country. And when you're coming back as well, you're trying to see, and you're trying to make sure that the things will go that way, because it's beautiful, no? Also, digitalization in terms of services. No, we always need to go somewhere, and we need the paper. No, in other countries, you do everything online. You do everything with your laptop. You do everything with your smartphone. You don't even have to have a laptop to do the things, to pay your taxes. To I got a fine. Now what? I need to take this piece of paper, going in line at the post office, pay it, or I need to change my ID card, or I've lost my ID card. And all those kind of thing,
First you have to do the paperwork at the police office, and then once you're done at the police office, then you have to wait for them to finish processing and then take it to the municipality. And it's just like it's papers on top of papers on top of papers.
The bureaucracy is something that will have to change in Italy in order to make sure that everyone will have a less stressful life in terms of getting all the paper and the documents and all those kind of things. But if you remove that,
sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I said if you remove that part, all the rest is like, you are a testimony of this. It's great, because you have a very good lifestyle. And things are not cheap, but they're not expensive as well. In terms of quality of food, you find a very good average in terms of.
But even when we're talking about quality of food, like the quality that you get for the price, it's very low.
Yeah.
But you could get the same quality for double or triple the price in some other countries. Even if we're talking about something as simple as bread or freshly made, I'll never forget when I was in Sicily, I got a bag of freshly made, beautiful ingredient donuts, something just simple as that. And for this whole giant bag that it must have been 3/4 of a kilo, 80 cents, 90 cents, something like that. Okay, we don't see that here in the north, but that's just an example of some of the things that you can see here, which maybe in America it would cost $5-8 for the same type of equivalent thing.
Or even the coffee, no? If you go on to Starbucks, no?
Yeah.
Abroad, I've seen a coffee in the US. You can even spend $5 or $6.
Oh, even $8. I know some people, their daily morning drink is $8, and that's like horrifying to me. Especially thinking
that's
in
crazy.
Italy, like an expensive coffee
in Italy, it's €1. It's €1,
and that's already
that's it.
That's approaching expensive because sometimes you'll see it maybe for €2. But you can also get it for like 80 cents, 90 cents someplace. And it's a good coffee. Like, that's the thing that's always important to remember. But going back to maybe one of these points that you mentioned is interesting about this relaxed mentality that exists here in Italy. And I think I can't help but wonder if maybe that's because of the job security that people do get here, that maybe they reach a point where they don't feel like they have to do as much to protect their job for that longer term contract, because, well, especially at least in the sector, the government sector, or anything related to that, where you get that contract and you're protected. But even to an extent, if you're working at a company, you do have those protections regardless of the fact, although they can, of course, go ahead and fire you, but it's much more difficult.
No, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to fire someone. You know, for example, abroad, it's very easy. No, you say, okay, I don't need you anymore. Okay, bye bye.
Right,
that's your last day. That's your last day.
There's some of those places where it's like you can get literally fired from one day to the next without knowing anything, without any warning. If you're lucky, maybe you might get a week in some places, or it just depends on the country, of course.
But of course, it's much better. You know, the fact that you are covered, you know, that's great. That gives you great security, you know, and that's great. That's fantastic, you know.
No, especially
but as always,
with
there are, now. You know, you need to find the right balance in between.
Of course. And it kind of, in some ways, definitely, I would say some locations on Earth are definitely leaning too far in one direction. And I will argue that at times Italy does lean too far in the other direction. There is this beautiful social system, but at some points it does feel like it can be, I hate to say this, even like almost overbearing, or almost push a little too much that makes us a little too comfortable. Because I'm definitely one of those people, especially coming from an American perspective, that having a little bit of something to fight for really helps progress society further and helps to really grow businesses and companies.
Rafael, I think the only trick we have, the only chance we have to keep this as it is to grow. Is to grow economically in terms of country. No, there is a new government right now, and every time there is a new government, we're trying to say, okay, that's the time to, you know, to do the next step. What is missing for us? Because if we don't grow in terms economically, if we don't grow in general as a country, infrastructures and you know, less bureaucracy and all those kind of things, we will get to a point where, you know, everything will go down. So we need to really fight and need to make sure that this will happen.
Definitely.
Because, you know, otherwise the debts, I don't know if you know, our national debts is like monster debt.
Yeah, and it's continually growing. I mean, of course, like most countries anyway, but I mean, even just at the time of this recording, we're seeing the Draghi government going through its first kind of stages and trying to actually push some reforms in the financial area that could end up working out. But even by the time that this video podcast or even the audio episode gets uploaded, we could even have a completely different government by then, because the way things work here in Italy is politically things can be very volatile, and the government can change in a blink of an eye.
It's very difficult, for example, in Italy, that, you know, the government should stay for 5 years, you know, in charge, but it never happened because every year and a half, 2 years, something happened. So they in the parliament they are the same, but you know, things will change. It's tough. You're not consistent, and this not being consistent is giving issues to our country. So we really hope that this time will be the time that things will start changing, because it's a long process.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I really hope that this will happen.
No, I agree. I mean, especially though, if we look at kind of Italy's modern history, it's been in its current formation. It's been around for 72 years since 1948. So 72 years. And maybe my math is off. I'll probably be watching this back and it's like, what the hell was I thinking? But anyway, it's neither here nor there. But when we look at the amount of years that Italy's actually been around and the amount of governments that Italy's had, it's been like 1.4 governments per year if we kind of average it out. Something
I mean,
weird
I
like
am
that.
not very prepared, but for sure it is like an average of 1 year and a half for each
Something
government.
like
That would be the average, nothing more than that. But for example, no, you had Trump in the US, no?
Right.
At the end of the day, he stayed all the time, 4 years, that's it.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want, but that person will lead your country for 4 years in a good way, in a bad way, doesn't really matter. If I voted for you, you stay for 4 years and that's it. And that's consistent. And that's
the thing is also, I mean, I guess we could say in that perspective, there are ways of impeachment and to try to get an official out. It didn't happen.
But it's very hard, no?
Yeah,
it's
very
hard.
difficult. Very difficult. Here in Italy,
it's like this.
All you need is just a couple people from a couple different parties to say, hey, yeah, we like each other enough that we'll get by for the next couple weeks. We'll make our own government, make it work.
Even if you have the 3%, 4% in terms of, you will be the person that, what happened now. It was like this, no?
Yeah.
A small amount of congressmen, they changed the course of everything, no? In other countries, it's more like, okay, unless something really bad happened or whatsoever, the government will remain the same all the time.
Yeah. No, and this is a major issue here in Italy. Sorry, keep going.
No, I just wanted to add that, as I said, I really hope that things will start changing in a good way.
Yeah.
Also because we're watching other countries around us, so we can't stay the way we are. If we want to compete, if we want to continue being, one of the we are
leading
7, 8, 10. Country in the world in terms of economic power, democracy, and stuff like that. So we need to really keep going in a sort of direction that is already there. We need just to take action, and we'll see.
Yeah, no, I mean, I living here, this is something that I want to see my country doing well. And I'm not talking about America, I'm talking about Italy. I mean, of course, I want to see America do well as well. But living here, like, I would love to see things improve. Am I hopeful? So. I think it's going to take a little while. I think there's going to definitely be a process to try and get out of these systems and behaviors that are so natural here, that are just kind of that stem from Italian culture, but maybe even to take this kind of more in the direction of daily life, because you've had that experience of living abroad and living in Italy. What was maybe even something with your children that was like, what was maybe the most difficult thing for your children with that adjustment? Because there's a lot of people who also are considering moving abroad with their kids.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that abroad it's a little bit tough. Here in Italy it's much easier in terms of the way we look after our kids. Italians, we are very, how would you say?
Like, warm, touchy-feely, family.
We want our
number
kids,
one here.
Yeah, we are like, we are trying to make sure they will have a great life, great future. We do whatever whatever it takes to make sure they will have best schools and best things. And
family
sometimes
comes first, kids come first. It's
exactly.
Like the number one priority of an Italian family.
In other countries, at 18 years old, okay, go away from here. That's the door. Do your life, okay? Find a job. I don't want to know anything. That's it.
If you say that to an Italian mother here, like,
I've done for you.
Are you crazy?
we are trying to keep them as long as we can, you know. And my experience was the same, you know. First time I went, I mean, not me, because I've traveled the world when I was 20, but in general, 25, I mean, at least until the end of the university in Italy, you stay at home, okay? Right. So 23, 24 years old, for sure, you will stay with your parents, no? And even a little bit more sometime, you know? Yeah. The average, I think, is 30, 29, 30.
Yeah, especially for males, they end up staying a little bit longer. Like what is it called? Mamoni?
Mamoni, yes.
Mamoni.
Yeah, mamoni. Yeah, but this gives you a perspective, you know, on how warm we are, no?
Yeah.
In terms of that. And as well, you know, we make sure, you know, at school, we pay attention to everything, and the teacher are great in terms of, you know, because they know that the expectation is very high from a parent, no? Yeah. So, and that reflects on that. So that's very, very good.
Interesting.
For example, abroad is a little bit more, how can I say, there is more distance, you know what I mean? There is
between the parent and the child, or the teacher and the child.
For example, the teacher and the child. Okay. You know, there is a little bit more of a distance. You know, I'm the teacher. I need to, you know, give you great education, help you to understand and improve stuff and things. But there is not like, I mean, with COVID, we don't have it anymore. But the hug, hey, my love, how's it going? I mean, I don't want to say that there isn't outside. Right. I just want to say that here in Italy is more than average, let's say.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. No, I mean, because like, I know, I mean, especially because there have been a number of lawsuits for inappropriate acts in America. So it really made like teachers like even more so, like they have to keep their distance. But like if a teacher would have even hugged me as a kid, I'd been like, what is wrong with you? What is going on here?
Yeah. For example, the kisses, here in Italy. I mean, we need to talk about before COVID, because we now have a completely different life, no?
No, that's really shocking, the difference, like going from even like a person that you might just be meeting for the first time, that's just because they're a friend of your friend. You get very up close and personal and intimate with that individual from the first
kisses on your cheeks. No,
yeah.
2, 3,
4, 5. Who knows? No, but even that's something that I've definitely had that, and I wouldn't say a struggle, but I've had to make sure that I'm accommodating, or was accommodating here, because my first gut reaction was to kind of step back. It's like, whoa, we don't know each other. I mean,
too much.
We could be talking about a beautiful woman here. We could be talking about a gorgeous, beautiful woman, but it's like, hey, I don't know you. I don't know where you've been. I don't know what you do. I don't know. We don't have that connection beforehand. Okay, with a friend, it's a different story. Like, hey, a hug, maybe. But
yeah, we need that kind of contact, you know, and that's the way we are. That's the way we are in general. And also, we are very famous for hospitality, in general, because it's very difficult. You come in Italy and you're not happy with the service, because we always try to go the extra mile to make sure that my guest or my client will get the best possible experience. So that's another great thing. That's it's incredible. As an Italian, I see the same, you know. You always try to do as much as you can to make sure that the other person, your client, your guest, is having the best experience ever. And that makes the difference.
No, it's actually, that's something that's always kind of amazed me about things here in Italy. Like, I mean, even like you go to an electronics store, if things are taking a couple extra minutes, they'll say, hey, you want a coffee? I'm like, excuse me? Like, what? I mean, okay, fine. Like, I'm not going to say, I mean, I don't drink coffee anymore, but it's like,
let's have a coffee. Yeah.
It's something that's always surprised me. Or even when I was looking for apartments, like the first thing, even before sitting down at the desk at the real estate agents in the office, like, oh, would you like a coffee? Would you like a little snack? I'm like, I'm here to rent an apartment. I don't care about snacks.
Yeah.
Let's get down to business.
in fact, I have to say that you will see this difference, no? And you love it, because it's a personal touch. You're more intimate, let's say, even with the strangers.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So that part is very, very nice. And I'm thinking of a person from abroad coming here and living in Italy, maybe in a small town.
Right.
It's even more, it's even more. Because you're Italian, of course, but you are both. No,
I'm American.
Rafael?
There's a difference.
You're half Italian, half American, let's say.
Yeah, kind of somewhere mixed in between.
Yeah, if they get your accent, say, Rafael, Italian. Tell me about yourself.
Right.
How about you?
Yeah.
I think
there was a good example of this. We were on Clubhouse and we were in a room. I jumped in there and like you mentioned that, there's this American guy. They called me up and it was like all of a sudden everything completely shifted from like the conversation you guys were having to, hey, so how do you like it here in Italy? What do you think? And this and that. And even like the guy who was leading the room started putting on an American accent in Italian. It's like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
But it's just it was a funny experience or a fun experience. Like, to have
that makes you in a situation where you are comfortable, no?
Yeah.
We are trying to put you in a comfortable situation straight away.
Yeah.
And we're very curious to know about your culture, about yourself, what do you think about us, and so forth. So it's kind of normal.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree with that. I mean, I think there is also an argument that there is this kind of allure that once you're living in a place for a while, it kind of fades away. But definitely Italians are very curious people. And especially when you're in a small town, it's like, well, why did you come to my town? Like of all places, I want to go to your country. Why did you come? That's something that I get all the time, especially living here in Rovigo. You lived in California and you came to Rovigo. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Yeah, but the other thing is, as well, you can travel very quickly with 2.5, 3 hours maybe in the car, and you can go from the sea to the mountains to the best place ever in terms of I don't know, monuments or art. Everywhere you go in Italy, it doesn't really matter in which region you are, you'll find great stuff, great food, great places, things to do. And that's very, very good. In fact, I live in Abruzzo.
Right. I wanted to ask you about this.
In the middle, the same line of Rome, but on the other coast, by the Adriatic Sea, okay? And we, for example, have beaches for summer, summertime. You are going to, you are in a proper summer environment, with doing a bath, the sun, and so forth. And then in 45 minutes, you can drive and you can get skiing. You know what I mean?
Right. No, you were telling me about these pictures that that people will take from the ski slopes, and you'll actually in the distance see the beach in the it's so close. I was shocked when you told me about this, and it's not that far away from where you are, if I'm not mistaken.
No. It's called Maielletta Mamma Rosa. It is a place where you go to skiing. It's just it's a small ski resort, very small. Okay, but the great thing is people will take a picture because as you can ski at the same time you can see the sea, the Adriatic Sea. As a background, so it's like fantastic. And sometimes when there is a very good season in terms of snow, so you could have the chance at the end of April, first day of May, end of April, to in the morning go skiing, okay, and then for lunch you can go to the beach, and maybe in the afternoon you'll have a bath. Because the temperature in April, end of April, they could be very nice. You know what I mean?
You can just go from skiing to swimming all in the same day, like no problem.
Yeah. Great thing.
That's Italy for you. It's really, I've mentioned this in my videos that just, you really have so much in such a compact area. 45 minutes compact is really making it even more compact because of course I'm coming from the approach like living in the Veneto, at least now, where like if you wanted to go to the beach, you can go to the beach, but if you wanted to go to the mountains, it's a little bit of a longer trip. Definitely you can do it.
But still
to be able to do it all in the same day like where you are, that's unbelievable.
Maybe for you it's not going to be 45 minutes, it's going to be 2 hours and a half, let's say.
Yeah.
but still you can do it. You know?
It's accessible.
It's great.
You can stay in your snow resort, your ski resort, sleep up at the lodge, but you want to get away for an afternoon, you go to the beach, and then you're back up in your snowy little winter wonderland by dinner.
You can have a bombardino, which is like a very strong, very strong
liqueur.
Liqueur in the mountain in the morning for breakfast, and then you are at the seaside having seafood by the sea in at 1 p.m. So
it's completely like just. I mean, especially having come from the perspective, like I told you about this the other day, like where I grew up, or some of the places where I lived growing up in America, like some of the best skiing, snowboarding in the country, but if you want to think about going to the beach, you're talking like 5-6 hours away. Like you can't do it in the same day. Like there's no chance of that at all.
And then for example, I'm talking about Abruzzo, where I live in Pescara, which is the city by the sea. If you want to go to Rome, it's 2 hours. It's 2 hours with the car. So you can go to Rome to, I don't know, go visit a museum, or going around the city, or, shopping in Rome, or for an event or something like that. And then in other 2 hours, you can go in the north into, I don't know, Rimini, and other, places where you have quite a few services for holidays, like summer holidays. So you have parties and stuff like that. So you're very open, and then in each region you'll find the best dish ever in terms of, I mean, you can find in Italy 20 different carbonara, you can find 20 different the original recipe will say this, but in each restaurant you have something a little bit different, something nice that tastes a little bit.
It's so much fun to be able to have that. This is something we've talked about in your room on Clubhouse, and also with Sabino Curcio, a great guy. Like it's we've had this discussion a couple of times, because always in your groups, even if we're talking about something completely unrelated to food, Italians always come back to food at the end of the day.
We always come back to food. We do this all the time. And then, it's very, how can I say, each region has its own specialty.
Right.
So you need to come and try this. Next time you are my guest, come and see me. We're going there to drink this, to eat this, or to visit this, so and we are very proud of our or our place where
like
we
our
live.
the local regional, or even the town. Like some people are very much, they don't even feel like proud of their region, they're very proud of their town or the province where they're from. It's just so much a part of their identity. It's really amazing to see.
I hope I answered a little bit of your question. I think it's great. It's great for someone who has already a job, let's say,
right,
or if you have the chance to work from everywhere you are in the world, Italy is a great destination in terms of quality of lifestyle, food. There is sometimes some issue with bureaucracy, a little bit of this and that, but in general the weather is incredible. You have proper winter is maybe 3 months in the south, of course, of Italy, is maybe 3 months in a year, the real winter, December to February, that's it. Then March to November, if you want, you can start going, by the sea, or, you can go around with nice weather, nice days you will find.
Beautiful,
you know what I mean?
Beautiful days. But anyway, I think actually we have a lot to talk about still. And maybe it might be good to do another episode in the future, because we've also covered a lot of ground this time. And so maybe to not keep this too long, I'm just going to cut you off right here and round this out. So, I mean, really, thank you so much for coming on. And again, like I said, I would love to have you on again and talk a bit more about life here, and also even about working here, because there's tons that we didn't even get into that I would love to discuss with you. But for anybody who's interested to find you online, how can they get in contact with you, or where can they find you?
I mean, my main social is LinkedIn, and I'm now in the last month or so on Clubhouse, and thanks to Clubhouse, we meet each other, no, Raf?
Yeah.
So we had this opportunity, to start talking in English, and you are a little bit American, a little bit Italian, so that's a great thing.
Somewhere caught in between. No, but anyway, if
yeah.
there's anybody who's listening or watching and you're on Clubhouse, definitely check out Mattia's room, because it's this great cultural experience, because people are coming in from all over the world talking about their life experiences. And also you get to hear from Italians in English about what things are like in Italy and what things are like for those Italians who are living abroad, because there's a number of Italians who are not just here, but also all around the world.
Yeah, it's true. In fact, the room is called Afternoon Tea with Italians, because the Italians are everywhere in the world, no? And they can share their experience abroad. Someone is from Australia, someone is living in the US, someone is in Russia, someone is in another place in the world, and that's great, to speak and to see what's going on outside and so forth. So that's the spirit also that started with the podcast, no?
Right.
That could be interesting. You know what, Rafael, an American or someone talking in English to listen to the podcast and wants to maybe improve their Italian. I don't know how that works, because I've done that for Italian that wants to improve their English.
Yeah.
I don't know if someone will get the same in the opposite.
No,
someone
I think there's
trying to
something
get
to
Italian. You could say something about it. I will ask you for some judgment about what you
definitely.
think
Let's
about
talk about. I think that's something that you should do, because I know there's a large number of people in my audience who are wanting to learn Italian, and they enjoy listening to content in Italian. I will definitely happily send people your direction and let them know about what you're doing.
It's called Practicamente Inglese, which is practically English, the translation. And I mean, it's everywhere on Spotify and, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and so forth. So that could be something. I don't know. When I see my statistics, the 99.9% of my listeners are all Italian, of course,
right.
But I don't know if someone interested to speak Italian will find it, useful. Let's say.
I think I definitely would find it useful. Even if you want to collaborate on that, we could definitely figure that out.
I can interview on my podcast, Rafael.
Sure. Yeah, anytime. You let me know when you want to make that happen. But let's
great.
Let's call this a day. I mean, I hate to say let's finish this, because it's always great to speak with you. And I know also coming up in a little bit here, you also have your Clubhouse room. So
yeah.
Definitely, you're coming back here. I'm not going to give you an option.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon. Can't wait to see you later.
Bye, Rafael.
Bye.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all so much for watching. Of course, be sure to check out Mattia online and his most recent episode that we recorded together, where I actually went onto his podcast. And thank you so much to Mattia for coming to talk to us here about his perspective of life in Italy versus life abroad. And I thought it was fascinating to hear an Italian's perspective, especially somebody who's left and come back. It really was great. So thank you again, Mattia. And a huge thank you to those of you who are monthly patrons to help to make content like this possible. Thank you so much to all of you for being a part of this. It is really, truly appreciated. Of course, also, if you would like to see more content like this about moving to Italy, Italian dual citizenship, and living life abroad, be sure that you are subscribed to this YouTube channel or to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you are on YouTube, be sure to leave a like and share it with your friends, and let me know down in the comment section who you might want to actually see on a future episode of this interview series. And also, if you are on Apple Podcast, be sure that you leave a 5-star rating. And if you enjoyed this episode or any of the other episodes and found it helpful, be sure to let me know in a written review. Of course, as always, I'm Rafael di Furia. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Not Your Average Globetrotter. I will see you all on Friday night. Stay safe, stay healthy, have a great one. Later.